In the bustling city of New York, Detective James Reed was known for his sharp intuition and unwavering dedication. It had been a quiet month, and he was just beginning to believe he'd have a rare moment of peace. That was until the morning he received an anonymous text. "It's happening tonight. Midnight. Times Square." Reed's pulse quickened. A cryptic message, but it sounded urgent. He immediately began combing through his contacts, trying to trace the number, but it led to a dead end. Whoever had sent it was clever. Ignoring his instincts was not an option, so Reed grabbed his coat and headed to Times Square. The neon lights buzzed and blinked in the chilly night air, but otherwise, the city felt like any other night. Tourists crowded the square, and street performers drew crowds with music and lights. Yet the city felt more eerie than alive. He was about to turn around, considering that the message might have been a hoax, when he saw a woman, dressed in a trench coat and standing alone by a phone booth, watching the crowd with an intensity that caught his attention. Before he could approach, she glanced his way, and Reed knew it wasn't a coincidence. She slipped a small, folded piece of paper into the booth and hurried down the street. Reed darted over, unfolding the paper under the dim glow of the streetlight. It read, "Trust no one. He knows." A chill ran down his spine as he realized this wasn't just a warning. It was a plea for help. He retraced her path and saw her silhouette just ahead, moving briskly toward the subway. She looked over her shoulder, catching sight of Reed, and he gave her a nod, signaling that he understood. They slipped down the subway stairs, where she led him through winding hallways and old, forgotten platforms until they reached an abandoned maintenance room. She finally turned to him and spoke, her voice low but clear. "I'm Agent Miller. I've been following the most dangerous syndicate in the city. They control half the black market operations here, and now they know who I am. Tonight, they're planning something big, a heist, one with consequences for the whole city." Detective Reed nodded. "So why the message to me? I've followed your cases. You're one of the few who can be trusted, but more than that, I need someone with your skills." She handed him a USB drive. "This contains their encrypted plan, but I couldn't decode it. All I know is that if we don't act tonight, it's over." They raced against time, taking the evidence to Reed's closest tech contact, who managed to decrypt just enough to reveal the plan. The syndicate intended to shut down power across the city in one massive strike, blanketing New York in darkness, chaos, and fear. The clock was ticking. Working through the night, Reed and Miller coordinated with the local police, sending officers to strategic points across the city. They finally located the hideout, a derelict warehouse on the edge of the city. When they stormed in, the syndicate was prepared. A firefight broke out, the sound echoing through the empty warehouse. But Reed and Miller fought with precision, determination, and unity. After what felt like an eternity, they apprehended the leader, a man Reed had crossed paths with in his earlier days. As dawn broke over the city, Reed and Miller stood side by side, watching the sun rise. The syndicate was disbanded, and the threat neutralized. "Thank you," she said, her voice softer now. "I couldn't have done it alone." Reed smiled. "Neither could I." And with that, they parted ways, two shadows in the city, having saved it without anyone ever knowing.